Now, my guest is a man who has brought laughter to millions around the world through his writings and directing. His impressive resume includes writing credits on Fridays and Seinfeld. He also directed the incredibly funny hit movies Borat, and The Dictator. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a resounding welcome to Mr. Larry Charles. Wow.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you, bro. Sit. Wow.
Yes, sir.
I feel so privileged to have you here in the studio, live and direct in flesh and blood.
I'm the lucky one. I'm the lucky one to be here. Thank you for having me.
What's with the hair and the beard, though? Are you in some sort of cult or what?
I'm the leader of a cult.
A leader?
I'm the leader of a cult. But
we have cults as well here in
Nigeria. Know. We just don't kidnap schoolgirls. That's the difference.
Okay, no problem. You're leading on points. We'll get to you very soon. Good. All right. Tell us about why you're here in Nigeria.
Well, I've done a lot of traveling to do my comedy, and I always get to go home, but I meet comedians in all kinds of strange places where Americans have no idea comedy even exists. And so I decided I would do a TV show where I would go to different countries and meet the comedians from these countries and find out what makes everyone tick, what motivates the comedians, what issues they deal with in their own countries. And
wow. That's loaded. You're known for dark humor, and in some cases you've ruffled a couple feathers.
Yes.
Is there a point where you draw the line and say, okay, we can't take humor to this point, or this is too serious to be made light?
I think my line in the sand is don't get killed. If I don't get killed, I think I'm okay, basically.
I like that. Now that we are talking about where to draw the line, there are some areas where we don't seem to agree culturally.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. When we comedians, when we travel to places like the States and the West, you can't joke about gay marriage, for example. But here we can because it's illegal here and it's legal there.
Right.
Now it makes me wonder, why is it that in America you can't tell somebody who to love, but you can tell them how many to love?
I think that America has its own set of hypocrisies. I think and this is one of the things I've learned, every country has its own set of hypocrisies.
Yeah.
And in other countries like America, one of the things I found most interesting is that we have tremendous prejudices about other countries, tremendous assumptions and stereotypes. And part of the reason I'm doing the show is to show that people are really the same. Their desires are the same, their goals are the same, their dreams are the same. So that's what I'm trying to do.
In fact, I think you should be in Donald Trump's advisory committee, trying to let him understand more that people are. And talking about Trump, how come with all the criticism and all the jokes that were made about Trump, Americans still voted for him?
Well, keep in mind that he didn't get the popular vote. He lost the popular vote by 3 million votes. Yeah. The Electoral College is probably corrupt. And I'm sure you understand corruption in elections. And also, I think that he tapped into a certain anger that the Democrats had not perceived. The Democrats had gotten complacent and hadn't thought about larger issues, and he was able to step in there and really tap into people's anger. And there's a lot of anger in America right now.
Now, as a satirist, sometimes I wonder, is it our business to shape how people think about society and probably, see how they can change it? Or is it our business to just entertain and, make people laugh?
Well, that's a good question.
What should it be?
I think we're at a crossroads now where the audience is very informed. They have very strong opinions, and that's why you're so popular and Jon Stewart is so popular. Because they want...
Did you guys hear?
Yeah,
that's why you're so popular.
Extremely popular.
But
I think that people want to hear someone like you talk about what's on their mind and kind of figure it out for them. You guys, Jon Stewart, people like that, are kind of figuring it out for the audience, more so than the journalists or the media do. Yeah. So you play a very important role.
Thank you very much for making me feel so good today.
Good. My pleasure.
Now, you have a very rich resume. You've done too many great movies. What makes you decide on what story to do? What is it that stands out and you look at it and you say, yeah, I'll do this?
I feel my criteria is this something that I need? Is this something that needs to exist? I don't want to add more crap to the pile that's out there already. So I want to make sure it needs to exist, and if it needs to exist, am I the one to bring it to life? And that's what I look for. And I'm looking for something that no one has talked about. The Dictator, I hadn't seen anyone do a movie like that since Charlie Chaplin in the 30s. Deal with the dictator and the absurdities of being a dictator. I hadn't seen anyone do a movie like Bruno or Borat. So those were my criteria, something that nobody has done before, something that nobody else
And talking about dictators, when you were working on that movie, didn't Nigeria come into your mind in any way? I mean, how can you do a movie on dictators and you didn't even think about Nigeria?
Well, it wasn't just Nigeria. There's a lot of countries that have pretty crazy dictators.
But next time you're doing something like that, think about us.
I will. I apologize.
Now that takes me to your job, religulous.
Yes,
religious.
yes.
That's the word, right?
So they made your pen go fly.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
Because
like
I'm going to go into a very sensitive topic.
Yes.
You know, I think, does religion or spirituality, you know, have anything to do about you as a person, as an individual?
I am a very curious, inquisitive person. I want to know everything, and I'm curious about how the universe works, and is anybody in charge of it, or are things just random? And I would ask these questions in my regular life, and it kind of stumped a lot of people, because there's no really good answers. And I realized that nobody had ever kind of explored this in a comical way. And so I thought that's a great idea for a movie. Go talk to people about religion and see how absurd, because it's mostly about how people don't get along because of their religion, not because of what they believe, but because what they believe they think is more important than what you believe.
Exactly. And, you know, the funny thing about all this religion is that, you know, they say the same thing, but the followers misinterpret it to mean other things, because most religions, the cardinal word there is love. They preach love.
Yes.
They preach tolerance. They preach understanding. You know, but you know, sometimes the extremists go to one passage and pick out what they want to believe in. Yes. And make a home run with that. Yes. It's very sad. So
that's true of all religions, by the way. All religions will pick out people. People generally are. That's what I mean. People are generally the same, whether they're Muslim, Christian, Jewish. Whatever their religion is, their basic goals in life, to take care of their families, to make a living, to have a nice life, are pretty much the same. And most religions basically preach that, but there's a lot of misinterpretation and a lot of misunderstanding that leads to violence and other horrible things.
You know, coming from you now, I'm confused, because, you know, here we were in Africa practicing traditional African religion and not... I'm unhappy. You guys brought Christianity.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
And now you're confused.
Yes. Listen, I'm sorry we ever came, except for me being here now.
I accept your apologies.
I'm sorry that Native Americans ever came here.
Okay. The other news is a new satire. And,
yes.
You know, we are trying to make our mark. You know, do you think, you know, the kind of project that we are doing has any impact on democracy?
I really do. I think that you are, whether you want to be or not, by doing this show, you become a spokesman, and you become a truth teller. And the audience is going to rely on you to point up the hypocrisies of the government, to point up the problems and the issues, and also present ways of possibly solving it. By making fun of it, by pointing at it and shining a light on it, you're going to change people's minds, and so it's very important.
Larry, thank you very much. Before you leave, I must quickly throw in this one. Before you leave, any advice for us on how we can make this show popular in the U.S.?
I think the way to make the show popular anywhere is by being fearless. Do not be afraid of anything. Attack. Attack. Yes. That's right. That's right.
It's been nice talking to you.
Great to meet you, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, thanks again to the great Larry Charles for coming through.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see his latest documentary.